Hello and welcome to today's video. So on the workbench today we have Rev B of the Pack Sniffer 2. So I don't have the displays yet. Ordered those a while ago. They were supposed to be here mid-April, but it's been delayed to early May. So hopefully those get here, and then I can finish them. These two guys have passed the I/O test, CAN bus test, boost converter test, like everything's working. This guy's got a problem with some of the I/O, so I need to troubleshoot that. My guess is there's probably a solder bridge or something in there. Usually on the micro, or something's not soldered. Yeah, I know. Just need to do a little troubleshooting on it, so that's why it's separate. So once that's fixed, it can join the pile of good boards, and then just throw the display on there. Should be good to go. So the differences between, this is the Rev A and the Rev B, was, if you recall, I had to solder all these extra diodes on here. These are the flyback diodes, provide protection for the out bits. And you can see there's some more inside there. And there's another row of them inside there. Kind of hard to see them, but those are 1N 4004 diodes. I believe they're 1 amp, 400 volt. And that's the main change, or one of the changes on there, is they're all right here now. So they just kind of run directly over to the pins. Traces just go right over to these pins on the connector. Same on this side. So yeah, so essentially all of the diodes that I was having to solder on there are now have footprints, and they're on the board now. And then the only other change that was made was, if you recall, this is the power supply. It takes 5 volts to 3.3 volts, and it powers the micro and the SD card. And I was adding this extra capacitor on here to help it out, because some micro SD cards can pull enough current to brown out the micro, which is bad. And even with the capacitor and everything I tried, there are some, it's just exceeding the current output of the regulator. With some manufacturers, some of the, it's kind of interesting, it's actually the older micro SD cards pull more current than the newer ones. And that's just causing it to brown out. So the other major change is that you can see this is what was turning on power to the micro SD card before, and now it's this whole section here. So the regulator now takes 5 volts in, puts out 3.3, and just powers the microcontroller. And the regulator over here takes 5 volts in, so I switch 5 volts into the 3.3 regulator, and that powers the micro SD. So essentially it has its own power supply now, and I haven't been able to get it to brown out. So things are looking much better, and it's probably a better design. Now, the only issue was that normally with the P channel, you turn that on with an N channel, especially when I did it, they were both at 3.3 volts, so I just had that directly being controlled by the micro, and I can't do that because my output is not 5 volt tolerant, so we're switching 5 volts into the 3.3 volt regulator, and so I've got this little Zener diode here to drop it. So you can kind of see so it comes from the micro, goes through the Zener, and it turns on the P channel MOSFET, which supplies 5 volts to the 3.3 volt regulator, which then supplies power to the micro SD card. So yeah, those are the only major changes between the two. Fixed the SD card power supply issue, and now the old one will still work. It just, there are some SD cards that are a little finicky with it. I did a video on it where if you plug in an SD card and it tries to read it and it just reboots and keeps doing that, that's a power supply problem. So yeah, I just have to use a different micro SD card. Newer ones use less power than older ones. So if you're using older ones like in the meg range, like 128 megs or 256 megs, under a gig, those ones seem to draw a lot more power than the newer ones, like anything under like 4 gig. Yeah, so that's what's going on. But the new one, Rev B, shouldn't have that problem. So yeah. So yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for watching. Bye.